Hey everyone, welcome to Full Range Fitness with Kelly Range, the podcast that empowers you to take charge and jumpstart your journey to awesome. We are broadcasting live on the End Resultz Radio Network from the Perimeter Roofing Studio inside the Country Inn and Suites by Radisson Hotel in Stone Mountain, Georgia. And today I am joined by my guests, Andrea Wells and Kim Kiser. Hi, ladies.
Hello.
Hello.
Y'all look so nervous. I know. It feels weird, but no nerves. Like big deep breath in. Don't blow out into the microphone. It'll sound odd. But everyone, we're just here to talk about some awesome things. So I want to introduce these two ladies as women that I met actually through my fitness studio. But we have lots and lots of things in common. And I'm going to let them introduce themselves to you because, I mean, who better to introduce themselves than the actual person, right? Yeah, you'll do better than me. So, Kim, do you want to start us off? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay. Well, my name is Kim Kiser, and I'm a single mom. I have 7 kids. 2 of them are in college, 2 are out on their own. I have 3 girls at home. And I have my own business, Great Harvest Bread Company. We make fresh baked bread. And yeah, that's about it.
Lots of yummy things. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Those 2 things alone consume every ounce of your being, right?
Right.
I'm sure there's more to you than that, but wow.
They keep me busy.
Yeah. When we talk about 24 hours in a day. Hello. And so, Andrea, tell us a little bit about you.
So I'm Andrea Wells. I'm also a mom. I have 3 kids, and my husband and I own some Your Pie restaurants and a few other restaurants, but there's 11 in total. Yes.
Wow. 11 restaurants.
Yes.
It's like Kim has 11 kids, you
Right.
have 11 restaurants.
I had no idea you had that many
I
children.
know. That's crazy.
Just
It's awesome,
7,
though.
not 11.
Just 7. I know. Gee, I know, right? Once you have 7, really, what's
One more?
What's one more at that point? Oh my goodness.
It does feel like 11 some days.
I'm
Yeah.
sure it does. Well, welcome. Thank you so much for joining me today. So I want to talk about the healthier side of eating out, because when we talk about health and wellness and those types of things, and we talk about your journey to, your best life and all of those things, when people are trying to make good decisions, it's not very realistic to think that you're always going to have time to meal prep, to grocery shop, to buy all the good things, and that you're never going to go out to eat, because those things are fun. And a lot of times we do celebrations by going out to eat and eating. But I want to note that really there are healthy options everywhere. You just have to make those right choices.
Right.
And sometimes you don't know what you don't know, right? Mm-hmm. So, I mean, who better to kind of guide us in the right direction than 2 restaurant owning girl bosses? Yeah. So, Kim, let's talk about Great Harvest Bakery and A, why you chose that to be your business. And then B, let's talk about some of the great options that you have that would definitely be on the quote unquote healthier side of eating out.
Okay. Well, I've always been passionate about eating well and exercising. I've done it my whole life. And honestly, I don't like to go out to eat because and you're right, most places have healthier options. It's just a matter of choosing those and having the willpower to do that. But I had been baking bread for years for my family, baking everything from scratch using fresh ground wheat. I'd grind my own flour. I had my own mill at home, and I was making cookies, muffins, tortillas, everything except pasta is probably the only thing. Been doing it for years. And so it was my desire to bring that to my community, which is Loganville. And I found Great Harvest. It is a franchise, and they have a mill on site. So we grind our grain there. It's a much bigger mill than the one that I have at my house. But, and so I was excited to be able to bring fresh 100% whole grain bread. One of the dangers that I think people get into when it comes to diet is they have the word diet in itself, like you're denying yourself. I can't eat bread. I can't eat this. I can't eat that. I can't eat carbs. I can't eat, but I think for most people, those diets don't last for long. And then they go back to eating the way they did, and it's not good. So you have to have a way to incorporate all of that into your diet, but make sure that it's good food. So we have 100% whole grain bread there. We also have grain bowls, which are salads with grain, wheat berries and quinoa and that kind of thing. And it's easy when you come to Great Harvest to eat well and to eat good. We do have some treats and sweets, but again, if that needs to be a part of your diet. If you deny yourself that and try to deny yourself that, let's say you do it for 30 days or 60 days even, eventually you're going to break down and you're going to want that. It's better to incorporate it into your diet to maintain a healthy weight and a healthy body than to just go off and binge every now and then and get off track.
Yeah, I totally agree. Tell me about, so I'm probably going to mess this up, but when you talk about the little the grains, tell me about that. And what would be the difference when we're talking about the healthier side of eating out? So let's say you go to the grocery store and you can buy, a loaf of bread off of the shelf. And we've all heard, oh, you can't do that. You can't eat that. It's not good for you. Versus going in and buying something that has been produced in your restaurant the way that you guys produce it. Let's talk about that a little bit. Explain.
Okay. So we all know bread's made with flour, right? Where does the flour come from? It comes from a grain. And if you've driven by a farm, you've seen grain growing in the field and it's the long, stalks blowing in the wind, right? Well, they are seeds at the top of those stalks. And those are they're called wheat berries. So we take the wheat berry, we grind it. A wheat berry has 3 parts, bran, germ, and endosperm. All 3 are necessary for a healthy diet. They have fiber, vitamins and minerals, oils, everything you need to be healthy, basically. But the bread that you buy at the store, like you said, that bread is made with wheat berries that have been ground into flour, but then processed. And they pull the bran and the germ out. They leave the endosperm, which is the white part, which is like the carbohydrate, the sugar part. And then they add back synthetic vitamins and minerals to make it so that it's decent for you. So that's why that bread's not good for you. And it's just the endosperm. It's just the white flour. And we all know that that's called a simple carbohydrate. And if you eat simple carbohydrates made with white flour, it makes your blood sugar spike. And it can cause, people get diabetes and all of that. And that's why they say you can't eat bread. But what we do is we get the wheat berries. We source them from family-owned farms in Montana. So they don't spray their wheat with, what's it called? Roundup. It's basically Roundup. I can't think of the
chemicals.
Right.
Yeah, it's really
that
bad.
we shouldn't eat.
Yeah. So we source our grain from them. We get it in 60-pound bags. We grind it in our mill. We use it within 72 hours because that's when it maintains its nutritional value and it's the freshest. And we make our bread with that. So we have honey wheat. We have a Dakota bread, which has seeds. We have a high-fi fiber bread, which has an extra gram of fiber per serving. So all of those are great within a healthy diet. Of course, everything's in moderation. You wouldn't eat half a loaf in a day.
Right.
So you can incorporate that into your diet. And then our grain bowls are salad greens we use those same wheat berries with all of that bran, germ, and endosperm, all of that wonderful nutrition. We cook them and they plump up and they're chewy, and we make quinoa and then we make all our dressings from scratch too.
Wow. So lots of options there.
Lots of options. Yeah.
And you give samples, which I personally am a fan of.
We don't like to call them samples. We call them free slices.
Oh, free slices.
Because part of our mission is to give generously. So we're very active in the community. We sponsor nonprofits. We give money. We sponsor schools and do things like that. But on a day-to-day basis, we give everyone a free slice that comes in.
That is
no matter if it's your
really
first time,
cool.
your 100th time, everyone gets a free slice.
Wow.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, Andrea, let's talk about your restaurants, which one just opened conveniently right next door to, or a couple of units down, I guess, from my fitness studio, which is cool. So we're in Loganville, and Andrea just opened a Your Pie. Now you own 2 other Your Pie locations.
Yes.
But this one you built out from scratch.
Yes. So the first 2 we bought from an owner that they both were about 5 years old. And this was our first build out. So it was a process, a very, very long process with COVID. So
wow.
We're finally open. But yes, so your pie is, your pie is your pie. We also have pastas, salads, and paninis, but you can pick your dough, which would be white, wheat, gluten-free. We also have a cauliflower dough. You pick your dough, your sauce, whatever cheese, different vegetables, different meats, things of that nature. And then you could also do that with pasta, salads, or the panini. Your Pie it's primarily in Georgia. It's a franchise, and they are branching their way out. There's some in other states, but they were founded in Athens. So it's a really great franchise. I come from the franchise world. So Your Pie is small enough to still be, so personable, and, you can just call people and talk to people about things that are going on. We have our own dough facility in Athens. So they make all of our dough balls, and they freeze them, and then they ship them out to us, and then we counterproof them, and we hand toss all of our dough. It's great. Yeah.
That's really neat. And it's fun to go to, and it's really fun for kids.
Right.
Because they get to watch the whole process.
Yeah. And, it's really good for me. Personally, I'm vegetarian, so it's really hard going out to eat with my family. I still do it, but it's hard to find something where you like pick and choose, and I'll do this side of this and a side of this to like make a meal. But Your Pie is really easy to do that. It's really easy to do, to go out to eat there, because it suits all different types of dietary preferences or restrictions or allergies or anything like that. So we really enjoy it. I eat there quite a bit.
I would imagine that you do.
Yes,
Wow.
we do.
Just like me, I eat at my studio. I grab the bars and eat the boxes of bars on our shelf. I guess you eat what's available, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's neat. So now that we know a little bit about both of you, I would love to. So let's talk about time and time management. So Kim, you own a business and you have 7 children, which, as we said before, creates, it dominates your days, right? Andrea, multiple restaurant locations, 3 children, amongst all of the other things that, go on with just being alive. So how do you approach health and wellness and exercise and making that a priority for yourself? I want you to answer that question, but also tell me, because both of you have a weight loss story or a body fat loss story from being a member at the studio. And we all know that one of the biggest reasons people will say, well, I just, I can't do this right now. I just don't have time. And we all kind of look at each other and go, wow, yeah, okay. I mean, I guarantee I can find somebody over the course of the day that I have met with that is busier, legitimately busier than whoever's standing in front of me saying that. So don't come in and say that. That's rude.
Right.
Guess what? My day is super packed. Yours must be very casual. Like, no, we're all really freaking busy.
Yeah.
So how do you work around that? How do you fit it in when you have kids and life and families and multiple businesses that you own and operate? You don't just show up at and leave, clock in and clock out. It's 24 hours.
Yeah.
So Kim, I'll start with you.
Okay. Well, as you said, it's a priority. You have to make it a priority. I started working out with Kelly. Gosh, how many years has it been now? 2.5 years ago? Something like that. And I would have considered myself in shape when I got there. I mean, I didn't think I was overweight, but I apparently had some. Well, what brought me there was a challenge. We were doing a challenge, and so they measured our body fat before and our weight, and then measured, like all of our parts, our legs and arms and things like that. And by the end of the challenge, I can't remember how many weeks it was, I had only lost about 6 or 7 pounds, but my body fat had decreased so much so that I actually went a size down in my pants, and I I look different. Like people would say, wow, you look great. You know, so
Right.
like, and sometimes you're like, whoa, didn't I look great before? But it really made a difference. So you have to make time for it. You know, like we talked about before, we all have the same amount of time. When somebody says, I don't have time, that's really not accurate. We all have 24 hours in a day. So it would be more fitting to say, I don't want to make time for that, or I can't make time for that, because it is difficult. I have to make it a priority. And I make it my goal to get in there at least 3 days a week. Sometimes it's more, sometimes it's less, depending on what's going on with the business or with the family. The past few weeks have been very family heavy at my house.
Sure.
But it's something that is important to me. So I make time for it.
I think just the emotional and mental escape of it, you know, the physical is the physical, and that's great. But the way that it improves just your overall feeling makes such a difference in all the other aspects of your life.
Right.
And that is what is so important to me, because as women, we have a lot of people that need us, but they need us to be functioning at our highest potential. And so a lot of times we just kind of let ourselves go down on the list, down on the list, down on the list. But unfortunately, if we hit the bottom of the list, everything above that really suffers. So good for you, Andrea.
Well, I'd agree with Kim. You know, every week I sit down and make our schedules for the week. Now, that's like all of the kids, like extracurricular stuff, school, meetings. My husband and I own these restaurants together, so there's things he has to do and places to be and things like that. So I sit down and I map everything out. And I put myself in there. You know, I used to not do that. But now I make my time for myself, and that's going to the gym. You know, I feel like we have classes that will like totally kick your butt in 30 minutes. I mean, come on. You can't say that you can't pop in there 30 minutes and run out. And that's usually what I'm doing. I mean, you see me running across the parking lot.
Running out,
and running
literally.
out. So, you know, it's important to me. I joined Studio 4 in November of 18. So I had just had my third son, and our kids are really close in age. So I was, you know, had been focusing on him, and I had just stopped nursing, and I was like, you know what, this is going to be, I actually drove by the studio every day on my way to work. And I kept looking over there, and I'm like, I wonder what that is over there. And one day I just said, you know what, I have to make a change. So I pulled in and fell in love with it. I come from a fitness background. That's like what I went to school for.
Very cool.
So I hadn't been in that realm for a long time once I leaped over into the restaurant business. So I was like, I'm going to get back into it. And I fell in love with the studio, and I'm right at 80 pounds that I've lost from then
that's
to
awesome.
now. Yeah. And the biggest thing were the challenges. So like we focused on, I hate to say like a detox challenge, but you know, I mean, it's not like those challenges where you're not eating. Like I have friends that I've made it 10 days without eating food, you know, and things like that. Yeah. So it's not like that, obviously. I mean, it's, you know, taking out alcohol and sugar and things like that. And it being that structured time frame, 21 days, you know, you put your mind to it and you focus on it, you can do it. So I've done several of those, and that's like predominantly where I've lost a lot of the weight. But yes, back to the original question, I do schedule myself in there and in our weekly schedules, and sometimes it doesn't work and I have to, you know, go somewhere else. I'm pulled somewhere else, but ultimately it's consistency. You know, it's every single day I have to choose to make those wise decisions. And, you know, I could just sit at home, but I choose to come to the gym and be healthy.
Absolutely.
So
I think making that choice for me, so anytime that, you know, you think, oh gosh, today's going to be busy, it's going to be a challenge, whatever, it's always better for me to squeeze in at least that 30 minutes.
Right.
Go hard, do it right, get in that 30 minutes, than feeling bad about not doing it the rest of the day.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think that's one of the things that I see people struggle with, and they don't feel good about themselves, and they know they're not healthy, and they're not feeling good. They're not feeling good. They're stressed. They're not
tired.
Eating. They're tired. They're not sleeping. Everything is failing them, really, and they're depressed. And I'm like, you're living that 24/7.
Right.
You would not rather put in 30 minutes of effort on the flip side. You'd rather trade off a 24/7,
feeling bad
about yourself and feeling bad than 30 minutes, 4 or 5 times a week, 4 times a week. It doesn't make sense. Reprioritize your time. And I think sometimes we forget how good it actually feels to feel good.
Right.
A lot of times.
You'll feel that right away. I mean, and then you're getting, from my perspective, I was getting myself back, and really anybody, it's your time, for that hour that you come in, or even the 30 minutes, that's your time to focus on yourself. You don't have time to even think about anything else while you're in there giving it everything you've got, Yeah, I agree.
Which the mental break is important as well, especially for mamas.
Right.
Because we have a really hard time of taking that, break away from that. But if you don't, you're just, it just beats you down. It's such an emotional journey.
Right. Right.
Really. So, well, I love that you guys have made time. I love that you've found your way over to my fitness studio and listened to the advice and taken the advice. And, we talk about the challenges, and it's, a short amount of time to cut out, maybe kind of go extreme, something that you wouldn't have to do forever, but it's really eye-opening. There's no real way to find out what is not working for your body until you strip it all away.
Right.
And a lot of people have crazy food intolerances that they don't even know that they have. So you're continuously consuming these foods, and it could be something that's, not really bad for you. But either you're eating too much of it or whatever it is, but it's created this intolerance in your body, which is working against you.
Right.
So it's not a bad idea. You need to eat food.
Yeah.
Those types of things, when you say detox, people are always like, oh, is this when we just drink, whatever it is? I don't even know what it is. I'm like, that sounds like what is it? The colonoscopy?
Yeah.
Like, no, we're not going to get one of those. It's like, I am not looking forward to that. So we don't do that here.
Yeah.
We eat food because food is good. That's the gas for our machine.
Yeah.
You can't drive your car with no gas. And people literally torture themselves like for weeks and weeks and weeks on end. And it just takes them backwards. It's so unfortunate. So do the legwork, find people that are going to tell you the truth about things and make the time.
Yeah.
When I sit here with somebody with 7 children and owning a business, and 3 children and owning multiple businesses, and that's just skimming the surface. You're so much more than that, obviously. And they can tell you, I've not only made time, I've consistently made time, I've stuck to it and had these, this great progress, then there's no excuse. There really isn't. Reprioritize. Worst comes to worst, you get up 30 minutes, 40 minutes, 45 minutes earlier.
Yeah. And then once you
won't
make
die.
it a habit,
Yeah.
you can't live without it. Once you get,
live without it.
Right.
you feel awful when you can't come as much,
Right.
because life happens and things happen, but you get used to feeling good. And, that like high you get after working out, and it carries you through the day. You miss that when you've made that decision.
Absolutely. It may be the thing where you start off and you're like, I can't imagine doing this every day. It very quickly flips over to, I can't imagine not doing this every day.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And the days that you don't do it, you're like, dang it, I'm not feeling as good as I usually do. Yeah.
Well, and for me, the challenges you're not talking about, we do eat pretty strictly for 3 weeks or however long it is. And that's nice because it allows you to kind of take an audit of what you've been doing.
Yeah.
And like you said, you start noticing things. Wow, I don't feel that when I feel better when I didn't eat that or whatever.
That happens to me too. Yeah.
And so we just finished a challenge, 21-day challenge. And, I really liked it. So I'm incorporating more of that in my diet than I normally do. But the same thing goes with time. I'm reading a book right now, and he's talking about the same thing. We all have the same amount of time, 24 hours, 7 days a week. And he said, you would be surprised at how much time you waste because it's one of those things you're not really paying attention to exactly how you're spending your time. So he suggests just for a week, keeping a journal and writing down everything you've done and how much time it takes. And when you go back and look, you're going to be like, wow, I have all of this time that I'm doing this. Is that really productive? Is that really? And the same goes with food. You know, one of the things I've noticed with the 21-day challenge is I eat without thinking. Yeah. You know, I'll just be walking through the kitchen and I'll pick something, or the bakery, that's even worse. And I'll just pick something up and eat it.
Right.
And so when I was going through the challenge, I was very aware of that. And I was like, oh no, I don't want to eat this. There's no reason for me to eat this. Why am I eating? I'm not even hungry kind of thing. So just doing things like that, kind of taking some time to take an audit of your food and your habits as far as when you eat and what you eat. And then the same with your time, that will go a long way. And then you can start, okay, now I know what I need to cut out or what I need to stop doing. And now I can actually have that time, make that time to go work out.
Yeah, I love that. It really isn't rocket science.
Yeah.
It's just being mindful.
It's being mindful. We do so much without thinking about it. I say we. I do so much without thinking about it. Yeah. And when you really start to say, okay, pay attention to what you're doing, you see those pockets that you're missing.
And I love productivity. I think it's easy to get. I think you're one way or the other. You know, when you get used to not being productive, you're used to not being productive, but then you can also get addicted to being productive.
Right.
But even in that realm, when you look at it, is what you're doing really being productive, or are you just making yourself busy? Because I fall into that category of just trying to be busy because I don't want to feel like I, let anything go or that I was lazy.
Right. And
I can very easily fill my time with things and doing things and busyness, but is it really productive in the right way, the direction I'm trying to go?
Well, so are you reading the same book that I am?
I'm not, but I'm kind of a genius. So no, I'm just kidding.
Well, the book is called The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry. And he talks about that. Yeah. That, it's kind of a badge of honor in our society today. Think about it. When you say, hey, how are you doing? Oh, I've been so busy. And that it's almost like that is a good thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like
it's when the people come in and they're like, I just don't have any time. They're saying like, my life is so consumed with important things, unlike your life, clearly, because you have time to go to the gym, Yeah. And it's like, wait, what?
Well, and for me, honestly, I'm like that. I think if I'm not busy, then I'm not being productive.
And you're being lazy.
And I'm being lazy.
You can't take that time off. Like you have to consume your day. I get that. I need to read this book.
Right. It is. I've actually going through it for the second time with a group. We're doing a book club. I read it through and I'm reading through it again. But
well, thanks for inviting us. I'm just kidding.
You are welcome to come. But it really has made me take a step back and really look at my life. And that's what causes the burnout. And it causes you to ignore the things that are really good for you because you're so busy. And in one part of your brain, you're like, okay, this is good. You're so busy. You're doing a good thing. But in the other side of it, you're killing yourself.
Yeah.
Because you're not taking the time to do, and you're not taking the time to rest. Rest is so important.
Yeah.
I mean, it's important to work out. It's important to eat well, but it's also important to rest.
Absolutely. And we need to work from rest, not rest because we are so exhausted from work.
Exactly.
Right.
And we're so good at flipping things in the wrong direction. That is Mojo. Well, you ladies have been amazing. Thank you so much for taking your time to come here. And thank you guys for tuning into Full Range Fitness with Kelly Range on the End Resultz Radio Network from the Perimeter Roofing Studio inside the Country Inn and Suites by Radisson in Stone Mountain. Please stay tuned for upcoming shows and more amazing guests. Thank you, ladies, again. And thank you for tuning in.